All right, we are here with Hartland head football coach Thomas Stevenson for our weekly chat. Of course, recap week one. I know there was. I know obviously not the outcome that you wanted, but what are your takeaways from week one?
I think week one was a very good starting point for our team, for our program. Our kids went out there and competed. We were in a pretty close football game for the majority of that game, and when you watch the film, you can see the one or two mistakes on a play that cost us a big play opportunity. So the mindset from the kids is pretty much as soon as the game was over was positive. They were steadfast in saying, like, we're building. This isn't the same as 2023. So I like where their head's at. I like how they showed up to work on Friday. I like how they showed up to work yesterday on Labor Day. So I think it's going to be a great week for us.
Okay, so really coming into, everyone talks about this is probably one of the biggest transitions that you can make. From week one to week two, that's where you see probably one of the biggest gaps in performance. The biggest closing that gap in performance, I mean. What's it going to be like, and as also opening up with a conference play with traveling up to Novi to take on the Wildcats?
It's going to be great. I think the biggest reason why week two you see so much growth is because you actually get real game film. You can show the kids real game film of themselves. You can show them real game films of your opponent, and you can actually see what teams are trying to do rather than watching scrimmage film or going into week one essentially blind with not having very much film at all. So I think that's why the growth is there. I'm excited with how these guys attacked their work this weekend and yesterday. I'm excited for a pretty lively day today on Tuesday. We got a win today, and I think the week's looking good.
And of course, going into this game, obviously, I think they've gotten you guys the last 2 years. Of course, some very familiar faces are on the Novi staff this year. What's it going to take to beat a pretty good Novi team?
I think what we've learned the last 2 years from playing them is it's going to be a very tight football game, no matter what. I think the team that makes the fewest amount of mistakes is going to end up winning. I think the last 2 years, the biggest takeaway from my standpoint is that we didn't score enough points in either of the 2 years. So that's going to be an emphasis this week. We got to make sure that we score, and we got to make sure that we continue to score, and we got to make sure we play fundamentally sound defense because Coach Sparks, those guys do a great job over there with their offense.
All right. Thomas Stevenson, thanks so much for the time, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you very much, Casey. We'll see you then.